That time I got reincarnated as a slime again? BY is StaciaPLE. Rimuru had been called to attend Walpurgis by none other than Guy himself. Realizing the dire situation, Rimuru makes haste to attend the banquet. But before he could properly arrive, right in the middle of the transfer, an unknown and mysterious power sent Rimuru back in time. Back to his very first appearance as a slime. Chapter 46, Master of Demons Part 5. Guy, what is the meaning of this? Surely you are not really thinking of killing our Lord. Diablo, with an expression unlike his usual self, asks Guy coldly. You misunderstand. I do not plan on outright killing him. I know that is not possible. I am only planning on temporarily killing him so that this chaotic energy dies down. Technically, the barrier Guy had erected around Rimuru had suppressed the aura coming from him. However, Rimuru's power, when allowed to run rampant, is uncontrollable. What had raised a question in Diablo's mind was, but Guy, you alone should suffice inside the barrier. Why ask for our help? That is not what is important right now. Focus on the barrier. I will tell you later. Guy begins his final preparations. He prepares a large number of magicules and condenses them into the smallest spherical shape he can. After that, he uses a sizable amount of magicules from each of the primordial demons, applying the exact same procedure. He then uses his ultimate skill, Prideful King Lucifer, to enhance the condensed magicules. What exactly he enhances these orbs with remains unknown until he reveals it himself. What? That is reckless, Guy. Testarossa, realizing what Guy is about to do, speaks out loud. Yet she is smiling at the same time, knowing full well what is about to happen to her and the rest of the primordials. Eventually, Diablo, who had been contemplating how he could kill Guy in a way that ensured the most torture, notices the oddly cheerful atmosphere Testarossa gives off. Ha ha ha! If you are planning on doing what I think you are, Guy, then I will let you off the hook this once. What happens next is a baffling story that, when Diablo told me, I had a hard time believing. The condensed pure magicule orbs begin taking on colors, rightfully representing the color of their originators. Crimson red, representing Guy, the red primordial. Jet black, representing Diablo, the black primordial. Pure white, representing Testarossa, the white primordial. Beaming yellow, representing Carrera, the yellow primordial. Brilliant violet, representing Ultima, the violet primordial. Deep blue, representing Rain, the blue primordial. Natural green, representing Misery, the green primordial. Guy then extends his arms, forming two magic circles on the palms of his hands. Following this, the orbs proceed to circle around Rimuru in a clockwise movement. Rimuru continues to scream in pain. With his voice muffled by the barrier, Diablo and the Demonis trio are worried. But because Diablo knows what is about to happen, he remains composed. O original creator, heed my call. Let my words be known, for I, Guy Crimson, petition to the voice of the world. Petition heard. We who were unbound, unruled, and forever free, bind ourselves to one. Access granted. Guy enhances his words so that the voice of the world may hear them. The sight of the process alone is worthy of divine admiration. The whole subspace is influenced by Rimuru's rampaging magicules, causing it to create life. What was once a dark, endless void is now filled with natural greenery, mountains as tall as the sky, oceans as deep as the void, and animals dominating the terrain. In the middle of this small world, the core being that allowed this creation to happen lies trapped within a barrier. 7 powerful demons keep him confined so as not to let his rampant state destroy the world. Guy Crimson, the one responsible for the events that transpired, petitions for the unexpected. Then our souls shall be offered, sacrificed, presented to the one supreme being. We, the original primordial demons, give ourselves to this being. Confirmed, initiating primordial essence, combining it with Lord Rimuru's skills. The last entity responding to Guy is none other than Sile. However, no one knows of her existence, so they treat her simply as the system voice. Rimuru's barrier starts transforming into a cocoon-like shape. It begins to glow once the orbs, the essence of the primordials, are absorbed by Rimuru. It undergoes 3 stages of metamorphosis. First, it is shaped like a cocoon. Second, it becomes encased in a pitch-black version of the cocoon, its shape dented outward. Third, it turns into swirling colors of platinum blue, gold, and black. Before it breaks like butterfly wings opening for the first time, Rimuru receives a message from StaciaPLE. Transformation complete. Here is the analysis, my lord. Name, Rimuru Tempest. Existence value, 99,858,423. Race, Supreme Chaos Spirit Ultimate Slime. Grace, Grace of Friendship. Title, Chaos Creator, Master of Demons. Magic, True Dragon Magic, Greater Spirit Summoning, Greater Demon Summoning, and others. Manas, StaciaPLE. Intrinsic Skill, Universal Perception, Dragon Spirit Haki, Universal Shapeshift. Ultimate Skill, Void God Azathoth, Fertility King Shub Niggurath, Conceptual God Alethea. Resistance, Physical Attack Nullification, Natural Effects Nullification, Abnormal Condition Nullification, Spiritual Attack Nullification, Holy Demonic Chaos Attack Resistance. What? What the hell? Okay, calm down Rimuru, deep breaths. Do not question anything out of line or you will just get bombarded with nuclear levels of information by StaciaPLE. The moment I felt out of strength, was that because of you? Yes. Though please forgive me for that, Lord Rimuru. It took quite a while to analyze and interpret what Guy was doing, so I might have focused too much on other things. What other things? Lord, whoever you are, stop me from asking these things. It is related to your new ultimate skill, Master. Guy is quite the clever one. Knowing full well that Master would be ruling half of the world's power, he sacrificed their rights in order to gain my attention. Excuse me? Guy most likely realized somehow that I existed. Unlike Lord Veldora, he only knows that I exist, but he does not know that I reside inside you, Master. This is incredibly confusing. Why would he go to such lengths? Well, maybe he got a little bold due to his excuse of curing their curses or something. Weird, why do I feel like I am flying? Whoa. Since Master has regained dominance over his body, the space domain that you were previously in was conquered by your aura. Since Master suppressed such an enormous aura unconsciously, oops. That is what I should say, but... Welcome back, Lord Rimuru, says Diawolo, who is free-falling while still maintaining his dignity. Very impressive. Ahaha, Rimuru, feel free to contemplate your position now. I look forward to your expressions. Where did you even get those beach chairs? Sigh. We are falling, but I do not know how far. StaciaPLE? Approximately 62 miles. So we are basically in space. I am giving up on thinking now. Rudra, are you here? Velgrind, who is looking for Rudra, reaches his bedchambers. Velgrind, what brings you here at this hour? It is bad. I feel like my brother, Veldanava, is out there somewhere. Hearing this, Rudra snaps wide awake from his sleepy state. He knows better than to fall for trickery, but he knows Velgrind would not spout such lies. Come here, let us talk about that, he urges. They sit across from each other at a simple table. So? What do you mean that he is out there? Exactly as it sounds. Recently, for the past few months, I feel like my elder brother's presence is growing stronger. Rudra frowns. Why didn't you tell me sooner? It is not because I didn't want to tell you. It is because of the feeling I get if I try to trace it back. It has a sinister feeling, unlike my previous encounters with him. I am worried that he might have been forcefully revived. No, that is not possible. Veldanava is the true creator. No one should be able to control him or bend him to their will. You sound strangely offended, but whatever. As you know, I wouldn't stand a chance of beating my elder brother, which is why I never bothered to pursue him. He might have been hiding on purpose so as not to disturb the world. Rudra thinks deeply, pondering Velgrin's words. If you say so. However, I cannot just stand by hearing this. I will be investigating this case slowly. Velgrin does not respond, she simply nods quietly. Knowing full well how stubborn Rudra can be, she decides to follow him and protect him as he uncovers the truth about Veldanava's potential reincarnation. Chapter 47, An Old Memory. A long time ago, in a time when even the creator of the world, my brother, Star King Veldanava, was still alive. I was young, having only been born recently at the time. I explored the world that my elder brother created, and under his guidance, I grew powerful and intelligent. Not long after, my younger sister and younger brother were born, Velgrind and Veldora. I personally looked after them growing up, especially Veldora. He was a tough kid to raise, but I managed one way or another. Though I do not know why the kid is so afraid of me. It hurts my feelings considering I have been giving him a thorough education. Meeting Guy was a disaster waiting to happen. A mere primordial, fighting on equal ground with me, it baffled my mind at the time. I had an ultimate skill, while he only had a unique skill. He was skillful, powerful, and cunning. I hate to admit it, but even I would have to borrow someone else's power to take Guy on as he is now. Sometimes I would play the part of a sore loser and bring up Guy's utter defeat against my brother. He would just ignore me. Boring, right? However, that was not the only time he lost. One day, out of nowhere, Brother Veldanava appeared along with someone. My eyes grew wide, shocked by what I saw. When I looked at that person, I became nervous and intimidated, feeling like a child all over again. It was as if my dear brother had become two. With a divine and chaotic aura, a being named Rimuru had come upon our world. At first, I thought I had it became apparent to me that Rimuru was eons stronger than I was. Whenever I asked him questions, he would always answer indirectly by giving me hints. When it comes to raw power, he completely outclasses me. However, I feel that sometimes he struggles with using his power, as if his powers are beyond his reach and he cannot fully control them. But of course, it might have just been my imagination. I cannot actually believe that such a powerful being as him would have those types of problems. I suddenly remember a scene from long ago, when I first challenged him out of curiosity. Brother Veldanava had informed me about this individual's existence, so to an extent, I was aware of what might happen if I pursued my plan. "Excuse me, may I talk to you for a second?" I approached him with as much positivity as I could muster, so as not to seem suspicious or hostile. "Oh? You are Velzard, if I am correct." My eyes opened wide. How could he have known who I was unless my brother told him? Right, that must be it. In response, I nodded along silently with enthusiasm. So I was right. What brings you here? Shouldn't you be somewhere else right now? Indeed. However, I have excused myself for the time being. I wish to become acquainted with you. I see. Well then, my name is Rimuru Tempest. It is a pleasure to meet you. Such a graceful introduction. Ah, no. Velzard, keep your mind clear. The pleasure is all mine. It is nice to meet you as well. I am known as Velzard, feel free to address me as you wish. Finish it off with a formal bow. Well done, me. If everything goes according to my calculations, this should leave a great impression. I took a slight peek to look at his reaction, which he caught me doing. Oh my, this is more embarrassing than I originally thought. Ha ha ha, there is no need for such formality, Miss Velzard. It seems to me that you have something to say, or rather, ask of me. As expected of the person my brother regarded so highly, he saw right through me in an instant. To be frank, I want to see how well you fight. It is not because of arrogance or looking down upon you, but I would like to see if I could seek guidance from you. After I finished my statement, Rimuru moved his hand toward his chin, seemingly unsure of what to do. After a brief pause, Rimuru responded to my request. All right. However, do not get your hopes up, and I would appreciate it if you went easy on me. I understand. With proper etiquette, I distanced myself 20 meters away from Rimuru. Given a countdown, we both prepared to clash. The moment the countdown reached 0, I immediately transformed into my dragon form. With a loud roar, Velzard approached Rimuru at an immensely high speed. Prepare to receive my attack, freezing breath. Right at the start, I used one of my most powerful attacks. Not only is it one of my true dragon magic spells, but I also enhanced it using my ultimate skill. The time that passed was a mere half a second. Her breath hit, but she was unsure whether it hit her target. The sheer icy mist she created from that was enough to render vision useless. In this case, one must use magic sense or a similar skill. However, her opponent showed no trace of magicules at all. Even elemental attributes were nowhere to be detected. Velzard thought her opponent had moved away from his original spot. Naturally, she raised her guard to the utmost limit. Seconds passed, and she still had not located her enemy. But when the mist cleared, she saw that Rimuru was still standing where he was. Slightly surprised, Velzard backed off and sent heavy icicles toward Rimuru. Not wanting to be pierced, Rimuru moved swiftly to avoid the deadly ice. So fast, thought Velzard. The speed at which Rimuru dashed around was supreme. Velzard was in a state of shock. When she came to, Rimuru was already leaping into position. Here I go, announced Rimuru. He gripped his sword and unsheathed it the moment he leaped into the air. At the location of Rimuru's jump, a deep and massive crater was created. Carried by the momentum of his jump, Rimuru brought forth massive wind pressure, making it hard for Velzard to control her flight. To counter this, Velzard created wind pressure of her own. Though it was incomparable to Veldora's death storm, it was still deadly enough to crush monsters ranging up to a rank if they came near it. With great skill and control, Velzard applied the ice element to the winds, making it far deadlier and more destructive. Don't think you can approach without taking damage, Rimuru. Hailstorm. And her statement was correct. The moment Rimuru entered the range of her hailstorm, he began taking scratches all over his body, slowing his momentum down. Rimuru had no choice but to use a powerful skill of his own, as even flight would be difficult to maintain within Velzard's hailstorm domain. Rimuru smirked and thought, what better way to counter ice than with fire? Hell Flare. Hell Flare? Are you kidding me? That is such a basic attack to use against a true dragon. Is he underestimating me? Velzard grew irritated at Rimuru's choice of attack. However, what she was not aware of was just how powerful a single spell could be if Rimuru was the one casting it. Velzard soon realized the foolishness of her thoughts. Just as she enhanced her attacks using her skills, her opponent would do the same. What she saw forming around Rimuru's palm was no ordinary hell flare. It had greatly condensed chaotic energy shaping it. The only basic thing about it was its spell composition. The power and sheer destruction it could cause were on a whole different level. This is bad. If that hits me directly, I might be forced down to the ground. Velzard focused her hailstorm into a barrier formation, sacrificing it to take the brunt of the force. Rimuru's hell flare reached halfway before it detonated and exploded, causing Velzard's hailstorm to disperse. The entire area that was previously freezing cold was now scorching hot. Velzard was utterly amazed. To think one could enhance a simple spell like Hell Flare and make it exponentially deadlier than it should have been. With no hesitation, a straight face, and zero pride remaining, she shouted out loud, Chapter 48, A Moment of Peace. The aftermath of yesterday's events was disastrous. I, for one, had many questions for Guy regarding what he did. However, Diablo beat me to it. In the end, I returned home first, while the 7 primordials remained where we landed. It was enough for me to see how overwhelmed Guy looked when Diablo started grilling him with questions. It was best to leave the interrogation to Diawolo, since they are old acquaintances after all. I never could have expected that the kidnapping of Chloe and Shishu would result in this. Okay, maybe I lost my composure a bit when I found out, but only for a little bit, okay? Honestly, I am mentally exhausted. The events made me feel like I was going through a second wave of growing pains. First, Guy tried to trick me by offering misery and rain to me, when in reality, he just wanted me to lift the curse they had for him. Despicable, really. He had the ability to do it himself. Confirmed. Guy just wanted to bother me one way or another. Perhaps for another purpose? No, never mind, I do not want to think about what goes on in that guy's mind. All I want to focus on right now is what is currently happening in front of me. What are you two doing? Veldora and Ramiris, the iconic duo, are standing in front of me, both giving me wide, pleading eyes. Just this one time, Rimuru, pleaded Veldora. What time? I am confused. I guarantee that you won't regret it, Rimuru. No, what would I be regretting? Someone please give me context. Master, while you were away, Ramiris came to consult with you about something. However, since Master was away at that time, Veldora came in and escorted Ramiris in your place. Remind me when and where I gave him such permission. There was no such permission given. Then I guess it is probably just Veldora being Veldora. Since he and Ramiris used to hang out all the time back then, I can assume the matter they are consulting me on will be. Let me live in your country, screamed Ramiris. I thought as much. Sigh. Remembering the times when Veldora, Ramiris, and I used to hang out gives me a smile. In the midst of my confusion, my reunion with my friends and people was something I had taken for granted. Now that I have a calmer state of mind, it gives me a sense of nostalgia. No matter how much time passes, I will always feel this way about something deeply engraved in my heart. So without reluctance or hesitation, I answered Ramiris, of course. Welcome to my country, Ramiris. I could not resist smiling. Perhaps because of this, Ramiris smiled back at me. Really? Thank you. Kuhavaha. I knew you would come around, Rimuru. Veldora announced. Buddy, you and I share something deep that only the two of us know, and that is our past. You should have known I would not refuse. So Ramiris, what would you like to do first? Since you are officially a citizen of my country, I will give you a tour personally. Oh, and Veldora will come as well. Ramiris's eyes light up as bright as fireworks. I guess the idea really interests her. I chuckle slightly. Seeing Ramiris reminds me of a little kid getting the best present of their life. My mood spreads, and soon Veldora and a few others in the room start laughing with me as well. Veldora looks at me and gives me a gentle smile, a nostalgic smile, contrary to his usual wild expression. Deep in my heart, I say, welcome back, Ramiris. Somewhere around the halls of the Western Church, Hinata hastily makes her way to the place where her deity resides. The Western Holy Church holds many secrets. Though the common public may not know, the biggest secret of them all is. Please forgive my rudeness, Luminous. May I please have a bit of your time? The real god of the Holy Church is none other than Demon Lord Luminous Valentine. MHM? Oh, it is you, Hinata. Very well, speak. Hinata, captain of the Paladin Knights, is currently in a distressed state. Luminous notices but pays no special mind to it so as not to cause further tension. About that man named Rimuru. Hinata gulps, showing clear hesitation in completing her sentence. Would it be all right if you could tell me more about him? To Hinata's expectation, Luminous sits there, looking at her with a calm expression. It seems Luminous' reaction is not as bad as Hinata expected. Why the scared face? Did you really think I was going to get mad? You are quite dramatic. Please do not joke about this, replies a flustered Hinata. Luminous easily eases Hinata out of her tension. I am not joking. I find your concern quite remarkable. Back to my point, please. Taking no more of it, Hinata speaks up firmly. Fine, fine. I was enjoying myself, but as always, you... Ignoring such words, Hinata gets to her point, this time with no hesitation or fear. Would you kindly allow me to learn about the man named Rimuru? Sure, though I myself do not know everything. What would you like to know? Hinata pauses for a second before finally answering, how do I apologize to a person like him? This question makes Luminous' eyes open wide in surprise. Hinata tries her best not to show weakness in her face. Is that really what has been bothering you, Hinata? Luminous lets out a light laugh, making Hinata feel embarrassed. Well, you shouldn't laugh. Hinata mumbles. For one, Hinata, you are overthinking this too much, Luminous answers smoothly. Rimuru is not as bad as you think. Regardless of how your first impression went, as long as you sincerely Despite her light-hearted tone, Hinata knows Luminous is speaking from experience. Hinata feels as if a burden has been lifted off her shoulders. Thank you very much, Luminous. You are welcome. But let me ask, Hinata, in what way are you going to apologize? I have heard Tempest is currently going to be undergoing labyrinth construction of some sort. I will just go there by myself and apologize personally. Letters will only hide the sincerity I hope to convey. Good, very good. I shall give word to a few of my subordinates. Would you like me to inform Rimuru as well? There is no need if they are currently busy. I do not want to trouble them by announcing my arrival. They might even spend time they do not have just to welcome me. Understandable. I will leave Nicholas to handle your duties while you are away. Do your best, Hinata. As you wish. Chapter 49, A Paladin's Decision. The 10 Holy Saints. 7 of these members belong to a specific order, the Holy Knight Order, one of the Western Holy Church's greatest military forces. It is said that the captain alone could take on high-ranking monsters. While the exact definition of a high-ranking monster remains debatable, the nation's borders remain entirely free of monster threats. The identity of the renowned captain of the order is none other than Hinata Sakaguchi. Following her, the core members of the order are Gerald, the Paladin of Fire. Ace, the Paladin of Water. Arno Bormann, the Paladin of Air. Bacchus, the Paladin of Earth. Fritz, the Paladin of Wind. Reynald Jester, the Paladin of Light. Each possesses a respective elemental attribute in which they specialize. Currently, Hinata is walking toward her living quarters. She had just visited the cathedral to consult with Luminous about a matter that bothered her. She sighs, relieved that she is not in any deep trouble. Hinata had grown concerned about her past actions when she found out through Luminous who exactly she was dealing with. Kind as Luminous was, she offered Hinata advice, comfort, and reassurance. Luminous was not one to lie, least of all to Hinata. Thanks to that, Hinata's anxiety decreased dramatically. Now that Luminous herself had reassured her, Hinata was back to her usual self. Hinata prepares to slip away by herself, not wanting anyone else to get involved in her personal affair. She successfully leaves the premises of Holy Empire Lubrios without anyone noticing her. Or at least, that is what she thinks. Ahum. Hinata, where are you going? Hinata pauses for a split second, taken completely off guard. Arno? Wait, why are you here? Didn't I just send you on a reconnaissance mission a few days ago? You did. That was quite exhausting, you know. On that note, regarding the area you sent me to, I am afraid I did not find anything particularly noteworthy. At this point, Arno, one of Hinata's top subordinates, casually carries a bag filled with travel supplies, following Hinata as if he fully intends to accompany her. Hinata sighs, rubbing her temples. You do know where my destination is, right? It is going to be risky, and you do not need to get involved. In response, Arno drops a bombshell on Hinata. Well, I was going to respect your decision to go alone. But Ace, Gerald, and the rest of the group have already moved ahead of you. So, you did not want to be left out, and that is why you came. Hinata sighs. First of all, how did you even know I was planning to leave? To tell you the truth, it was one of the 7 celestial sages. Hinata's eyes open wide in surprise. Curious, she presses Arno for more details. Gerald was the one who told us all this. He said he overheard them talking near the center of the cathedral. Isn't that a bit too risky? How did he not get caught? Beats me. I only heard about it yesterday. Even so, you cannot join me. This is something I must do alone. Tell that to Gerald or Ace. But I don't think they will back down so easily. With a small obstacle ahead of her, Hinata continues her journey toward Tempest. Hey Rimuru, I have a question, Veldora says. What is it? Now that Ramiris has joined us, when are you going to rebuild the labyrinth? Good question, Veldora. To be honest, I want to rebuild it as soon as possible, but to do that, we need the Colosseum finished first. Plus, we need to plan the festivities for the grand opening. I know. The last time you introduced the labyrinth, you held a tournament and welcomed a crowd of people. Seriously, can't you just rebuild it now? So persistent. Fine. Once I have made the minimal preparations, let us go discuss it with Ramiris. We cannot build the labyrinth without her. Perhaps because I was too relaxed, I failed to notice Ramiris approaching. But my words had already been spoken, and now... My. Did I just hear Rimuru of all people say he cannot do something without me? He. Ramiris, being the energetic fairy she is, immediately gets a boosted ego upon hearing my praise. Sile, why didn't you warn me that Ramiris was right there? Why would I? Whoa, why do you sound annoyed? I am not annoyed. It is most likely just your imagination. But why didn't you tell me Ramiris was nearby? No hostile intentions were detected. Did she just? You know what, I won't even try to argue. At this point, Sile is just teasing me. Wait! I did not mean it that way. Please do not think poorly of me. I am sorry, Master. That's new. I didn't know Sile had this side to her. It is fine, Sile. It doesn't change my view of you. Just don't drop sudden surprises on me. Understood. I will certainly live up to Lord Rimuru's expectations. So, Rimuru. I heard that you had thoughts of moving my home, the labyrinth, into your country. Ramiris still boasts an inflated ego, but she prioritizes securing a new place to live. Unlike the first time Ramiris and I discussed this, I already have clear ideas about what, when, and where we should build. Don't worry, I have a solid grasp on what we should do. All I need are a few preparations and a bit of setup to make it happen. Really? Ramiris's eyes light up when I reassure her that I already have plans for the labyrinth, her new home. I nod and continue explaining. Listen well, Ramiris. I will be holding a festival for the opening of both the Colosseum and the labyrinth. There will be plenty of guests, adventurers, and merchants. You will also be able to earn money once we open the labyrinth. What? Is that true, Rimuru? I nod enthusiastically. Then does that mean my title of being unemployed will finally be gone? Yes, you can go brag to Guy or Dino for all I care. In a burst of joy, Ramiris flies all around the room, laughing merrily. Once she calms down, she realizes something and immediately double-checks with me. You are sure about this, right, Rimuru? Just like before, she is afraid I might change my mind. How earnest? I am sure. You don't need to keep asking. I promise I won't change my mind. I will take your word for it then. Kuhavaha. I knew I could count on you, Rimuru. Veldora boasts. Discussing the details with Ramiris was simple enough. I already had the framework from our previous experiences. Though it required some convincing, all in all, it was a productive day. As for the Colosseum, I will need to fix a few design flaws I noticed. To make that happen, I will need to recruit Miles, as no one I know handles finances, budgeting, and economics quite like him. Besides Miles, I will also need to recruit Yoshida. We cannot serve proper pastries without a master baker in town. Now, what else do I need to prepare for? Notice, 7 individuals are approaching Tempest. I estimate they will arrive in 3 days at most. What? Hold on, who is coming? It is Hinata and her companions, Master. Although they appear to be armed, I believe they have no intention of using their weapons. That is reassuring. I am acquainted with Luminous, so she most likely warned Hinata about me. Hinata is no fool, so she wouldn't want to fight me needlessly. Unless she got tricked by those 7 celestial sages again. However, I didn't send any fake messages this time, especially since I sent back the King and Archbishop of Falmouth alongside Diawolo and Hume. In any case, I had better greet her properly this time. I want to avoid another misunderstanding. Chapter 50, Clash Part 1. Now that I know Hinata is heading toward Tempest, I gather my executives for a meeting. Our usual lineup is present, but this time, I asked Shizu to participate as well. The primary reason is that Shizu was once Hinata's teacher. With her help, I hope to find a peaceful resolution to whatever brought Hinata to Tempest. I hope she isn't coming for a duel like last time, though that seems unlikely. Luminous, whom I have already met, should have briefed Hinata about me. Perhaps Hinata is simply coming to apologize. Lord Rimuru, all the executives have gathered. We will begin at your command, Shuna announces. Wait. I don't see Testarossa anywhere. Where is she? I had asked Testarossa to participate, as her presence usually makes our meetings run much smoother. She is currently busy trying to calm down Lady Ultima and Lady Carrere, Shuna replies. Why? What happened? Well, that is a bit difficult to explain. What happened over there? I should check. No, you should not. What? Now Sile is intervening? What is going on over there? It is a private matter among the women. An insensitive person such as you, Master, should stay clear. Sile's response hits my conscience directly. That was a bit harsh, though I cannot exactly refute it. Moving on. Ahum. Anyway, since Testarossa is currently occupied, we will proceed on our own. Understood. To begin the meeting, I address Hinata's arrival and ask the executives to share their thoughts on her intentions. The first person to speak up is Shun. Lord Rimuru, don't you think she wants to challenge you to a fight? No, I don't think so. We have crossed paths before, and I don't think she is foolish enough to ignore the clear difference in power between us. I immediately dismiss the idea that Hinata is approaching with hostile intent. Is that so, Lord Rimuru? Have you discussed this matter with King Gazelle? Kaijin asks, inquiring whether I intend to seek counsel from the armed nation of Dworgen. Given the current situation, involving King Gazelle would only cause unnecessary trouble for him and is unneeded for us. There are only 5 companions accompanying Hinata, so I don't expect this to become an international conflict, unless those accompanying her hold high political standing. They are simply her fellow paladins, not foreign diplomats, so I can rule that concern out. I see. I apologize for my unnecessary remark, Lord Rimuru. No, please. I asked for everyone's opinions, after all. Before settling on our defensive layout, we discuss the situation further. Very well then. Benimaru, prepare a small force of about 30 members. Shun, assemble a dozen of your troops. I will give you detailed instructions later. For now, prepare your units. Understood. Roger that. During the discussion, a thought suddenly crosses my mind, looting Clayman's domain. I completely forgot to send subordinates to secure his artifacts and treasures. Oh well, Sile assures me nothing unusual is happening in that territory, so Claimant's castle should remain untouched for now. Rimuru, why are you mobilizing your forces as if you are preparing for a battle? Shishu asks me. There are a few things about the Western Holy Church that concern me. Specifically, a group known as the Seven Celestial Sages. The last time I encountered them, they orchestrated a scheme from behind the scenes. I see. But what about Hinata? How do you plan to handle her? If you don't mind, I would prefer if you and I confront her alone. As I say the word alone, I glance toward Shen standing behind me. She gives me a somewhat unenthusiastic nod. Though I feel slightly guilty for keeping Shen from the front lines, it brings relief knowing she won't accidentally escalate our conversation with Hinata. Part of my reason for restoring Shen's forces, Team Reborn, was for situations like this. Since no one perished during the recent events, no extra skills were acquired through resurrection this time. But of course, my reliable partner Sile has everything under control. Right, Sile? Yes. I shall ensure that each qualified individual receives their designated skills. As expected of Sile. Excellent work. It is nothing noteworthy, Master. Our internal conversation is interrupted by Veldora walking into the room. Hey Rimuru, do you have a moment? What is it? I know you usually leave me to guard the final line of defense, but can I have a bigger role this time? He asks with a bright smile. Absolutely not. Wait, actually. Oh? So you want a bigger part to play, Veldora? Realizing I might be scheming something, Veldora swallows hard and responds. Yeah. So, are you giving me a larger role or what? To be honest, having Veldora directly step onto the battlefield would cause a panic not just for Luminous, but for neighboring human nations. So. What? Are you serious, Rimuru? That is. I know he will love what I am about to propose to him. Absolutely amazing. See? Kuhavaha. As expected of Rimuru. Kuhavaha. After wrapping up the meeting, I head straight to visit the children. I hadn't checked on them personally since returning. Since Shishu had been staying with them, I wasn't overly worried, but I wanted to see them myself. Ah. Rimuru-sensei. Greetings, everyone. How have you been? Sorry I couldn't visit immediately after returning. No worries. I can wait as long as you need. Chloe says cheerfully. That is quite a bold statement, Chloe. Denied. That is merely a figure of speech. I figured as much. HMPH. It's not like I was waiting around just to see you anyway. Alice huffs. I am back though, and I brought snacks and pastries. Then you are forgiven. Alice is easy to sway once food is involved, something I recently learned about her. Children can generally be calmed with proper attention or delicious food. Is that so? Well, I wouldn't know firsthand, since I never raised children in my past life. Anyway, have you all been behaving? Shishu had plenty to tell me about how you were doing. Gah! Gale was the one who wanted to prank you. Kenya blurts out nervously. Way to sell me out, Gale! Kenya says, grinning despite his disappointment. Come on. You guys gave me the job of distracting him. The pressure was too much. Gale defends himself. Well, it probably wouldn't have worked anyway, so relax, Ryota reassures him. If you say so. Ahaha. Well, ultimately, you kids were the ones who sent me to fetch Rimuru, Shizu adds. Even Shizu was in on this? Now I am slightly suspicious. This might just be a setup to lower my guard. Well, whatever prank they planned, I am confident I can dodge it. 5 minutes later. I could not dodge it. Why? Why me? Oh come on, Rimuru-sensei, it actually suits you. I don't know how things escalated so quickly, but right now, I am standing herein. You and Shizu-sensei look like twins, and the bunny outfits make it even more obvious. Bunny suits. They got me completely. They led me into a clothing shop that was temporarily closed due to the evacuation advisory I issued for the Western District earlier. I should have been suspicious when they strolled right in, but a familiar-looking shop assistant was inside, so I dropped my guard. Who was the shop assistant, you ask? Let's take a look. Peeking behind the counter, the main culprit is. You traitor, I murmur. My expression is so fixed that it looks almost comedic. It was you, Benimaru. He grins behind the curtain, sitting upright in a dignified pose. His accomplices, Shuna, Gobta, Haruna, and a few goblin maidens. Unbelievable. Please do not feel discouraged, Lord Rimuru. It looks quite fitting on you. What is wrong? Sure. I hear footsteps approaching. I look toward the source of the noise, and my expression changes to surprise. Isn't that Arno? One of Hinata's paladins. Shizu notes. You're right. But why is he a full day ahead of Hinata's main group? There is no time to lose. I need to address this situation immediately, even if it means being seen in a bunny outfit. Benimaru. Come with me, we have a guest. I hear Benimaru step up behind me as I approach the entrance. Are you ready? More than ever, my lord. Then let's go. Chapter 51, Clash Part 2. Hello. I apologize for not greeting you properly when you arrived. Oh, it's fine. Arno pauses mid-sentence, looking at Rimuru with wide eyes for a second before regaining his composure. Anyway, straight to the point. My objective here is to inform you that a senior figure from the church requests an audience with you, Lord Rimuru. I didn't expect this. Normally, Lady Hinata was supposed to carry out this role. However, due to circumstances, I was assigned the task instead. Can you explain why? Of course. Lady Hinata appeared to have planned a meeting with you long before my assignment. That is why I waited for her to set out, joining her group under the pretense of standard duties. And you managed to depart ahead of Hinata? Who sent you? I was instructed directly by Pope Louis. Pope Louis works under Luminous, so that explains it. I understand. Consider the request received. However, given our current circumstances, meeting openly will be difficult. The Western nations do not yet know that Tempest is a peaceful nation, as we have not publicly announced our formal arrangement with Luminous and the Western Holy Church. Furthermore, there are still hostile factions within the Church's ranks that need to be cleared out. Understood. Then I shall take my leave. Wait. Before you go, please inform Hinata that I will welcome her arrival. Arno offers a quick salute and nods in response. What could Luminous' intention be in requesting an audience this way? Couldn't she just use the communication item guy provided during Walpurgis? This feels suspicious. The following day, Hinata and her group arrive at the western gate of Tempest. This time, I made sure not to meet her in a bunny outfit, returning to my standard attire. Hinata! It has been a long time. Welcome to Tempest. The one greeting her is Shizu, speaking in a warm tone. Hinata looks astonished to see Shizu alive and present in Tempest, but she decides not to press the issue as she notices me standing nearby. It has been a long time, teacher, Hinata says. She then turns to face me directly. Today, I have not come with hostile intent, nor have I come to fight you. However, since I have wronged you in the past, I will accept whatever judgment you deem appropriate. Without hesitation, Hinata kneels before me. Her sudden action takes even me off guard. Wait, let's not make any drastic declarations here, I say, trying to keep the situation calm. Lady Hinata! What are you doing? you shouldn't bow to a demon lord, one of her paladins exclaims. Quiet! We have discussed this before. None of you are to speak unless instructed. Hinata scolds her subordinate firmly. She turns back to me with an apologetic tone. Please excuse that outburst. It will not happen again. I am not offended, but why are you acting like this? I ask. Pardon? I phrased that poorly. I mean, what brought about this change in attitude? Hinata pauses, appearing to organize her thoughts. In a measured voice, she speaks, you share a connection with the deity I serve. When I asked her about you, she gave me stern warnings regarding my conduct. While my presence here today comes from my own choice, I truly apologize for my previous actions. Seeing Hinata so sincere is a rare sight. No, that impression is merely a result of your own perspective. Is that so? Well, at least my perspective stays optimistic. Why the sudden silence? It is nothing, Master. I feel Sile managing internal processes in the background, but I don't press the issue. Hinata, you have my forgiveness. You really didn't need to go to such lengths. Hinata stands up as I speak, her tone shifting back to her usual composed self. Well, I had a feeling I shouldn't be overly worried about meeting you. I even imagined that even if I glared at you, you wouldn't take it as hostility. Strange, isn't it? Old habits die hard. Having conversed with Hinata before, I respond in the same casual manner. To any onlooker, seeing a legendary hero and a demon lord chatting casually like old acquaintances would be a baffling sight. Before the conversation drifts further, Shishu steps forward. I am sorry to interrupt, but my detection skill is picking up a large force approaching this location. That's right, we have incoming company. What do you mean, Shishu-sensei? A sizable formation of knights is marching in our direction. Hinata frowns, immediately turning to her paladins. No. What is the meaning of this? Me? What did I do? Don't play dumb with me. Yesterday, you told me that you had arranged a unit of knights and asked me to scout Tempest ahead of them. I never said anything like that, Lady Hinata. Seeing Arno's genuine confusion, Hinata quickly realizes what must have happened. Wait, do you remember when we first met up before setting out for Tempest? I met up with you alongside the others at the border village, just as planned. I see. I was deceived. Now the situation makes sense. When Hinata first set out, an imposter posing as Arno made contact with her before the real Arno joined the group. Since the imposter suggested scouting ahead, the Arno I spoke with yesterday was likely an enemy agent using transformation magic. This means Luminous never sent that request for an audience. It was a setup from the start. If we can catch the mastermind behind this scheme, we can resolve this entire conflict in one move. Though given how slippery these manipulators were in the past, I need to stay sharp. Demon Lord Rimuru, Hinata addresses me, though this may be inconvenient, I request your assistance in intercepting those knights. Can't you handle them on your own? Physically, yes. However, if I fight the Holy Empire's forces alone, it will create unwanted rumors regarding the Church and myself. So you want to resolve this without causing internal political chaos? I ask. Precisely. I understand her reasoning. We need a clean resolution. Hinata, your companions seem anxious, Shishu points out. Hinata looks back at her paladins, who are whispering among themselves. She steps aside to speak with them directly. What is the issue now? Everything. Fritz replies. We know you have your reasons, but you tried to fight that man before. Yet today, he shows no resentment or hostility toward us at all. You were acting surprisingly friendly yourself, Lady Hinata, Raites adds. The rest of the paladins nod in agreement, overwhelming Hinata with questions. Fine. If you won't take my word for it, I have no choice. Hearing her tone, the paladins brace themselves for a severe lecture. Hinata begins. They swallow nervously, expecting the worst. Was given explicit instructions regarding Rimuru by our god, Luminous herself. What? The paladins shout in unison. Chapter 52, Clash 3. What are we going to do, Hinata-sama? Those knights aren't stopping at all, even if we mention your name. Hinata had proposed to Rimuru that she would try to stop the knights. However, her efforts have been in vain. Hinata sent her subordinates out to give the word that she was there, trying to settle things with Rimuru. Not by the means of fighting, of course. But little to no knights even as much glanced towards them, let alone listen to their pleas. When they finally got a reply, some of them grew anxious. If what you people say is really true, then she should show herself to us. The respondent looked stern and convinced that they weren't buying their words. Flash forward to now, Hinata was convinced that this would become a troublesome problem. Why would low-ranked knights like them move on their own, against a country of monsters at that? No, wait, I shouldn't assume that their intentions are to wage war against this country. After all, the storm dragon, Veldora, is currently residing here. Though it's strange, I don't feel its presence at all. Even if it's suppressing its energy, I should be able to sense a powerful individual such as Veldora. Although, this is bad, Hinata-sama. They're not even paying attention to us. With that, we can't properly lead them away. And the use of force would just backfire on us. Those knights are mostly low-ranking newbies from noble families. If we strike them, they could file complaints that are sure to be sound. True, while not only did we strike against our own, we essentially tried to stop them from, if I assume so, fighting against monsters. The church has a policy against monsters, so that would be politically and socially bad. What's worse is that they don't know the threats, I mean, individuals who reside here. Not only is the ruler a demon lord, but a true dragon also rests in this very country. I see your point, Arno, Gerald. I really do. But as you guys know, those stubborn knights aren't listening closely, like 5-year-olds. Also, I doubt that the storm dragon is currently here. If you get what I mean. No, what do you mean? A concerned Fritz responded. At first, I was also convinced that the storm dragon really was here. I've had some time to confirm my suspicions. I can say that without a doubt, the storm dragon is currently not here. It's nerve-wracking discussing this in front of the monster nation's top brass, but it must be done. But what is this power I sense? Just sensing it gives me a deep fear of death. And it's really, really close to us, shouts a bewildered Ace. Well, I can't really blame you for not knowing. Well, let's not get too worked up. Have some refreshments, replied Rimuru. Oh, thanks. Because it's standing right in front of you. Lumina-sama, you called. Oh, Louis, finally you arrived. What took you so long? Sitting on her throne, Luminous, who is as elegant as ever, says in a tone heard only by those close to her. Please forgive my tardiness. I was a little late because I ran into a troublesome individual. Is that so? Well, did you take care of it? Gesturing to wipe away sweat, Louis responds in an unsure tone, I wouldn't say I took care of it. Rather, I just briefly managed to resist its attacks. Oh? It sounds like you've got quite the story. Explain it to me in detail. Right, of course. After a detailed explanation. That is quite troublesome. Yes, however, I do not intend to burden Lumina-sama with the... Quiet, you. I wasn't asking for your thoughts that time, interrupts Luminous in an irritated tone. If we have that powerful of an opponent, I'm afraid that I wouldn't be able to defend you all alone. Luminous clicks her tongue. With the never-ending war with de Gruul, her focus would be diverted between solving this new problem or retaliating against de Gruul's advances. At this point, I might really need help from someone. Though since I've been solitary, I don't really have anyone to turn to for help on the octagram. If only that stupid lizard never came to my home, my forces would be far more powerful than de Gruul's. And since Hinata is away, I don't have someone to comfort me. What a pain. Speaking of Hinata, Luminous looks at a coffin, and not just any random ordinary one, but a powerful sealed coffin. This coffin contains the body of her beloved. So she always treasures it and places it in the most secure place possible, and that place would be with her. Sigh, if only you'd awaken, my problems would be long gone right now, muttered Luminous. Excuse me. I wasn't talking to you. Yes. What if I talk to Rimuru? Since he does know a lot, after all. Plus he keeps that lizard in his place, so maybe. Oh, before I forget. Louis, what have those guys been up to? By those guys, Luminous means the 7 celestial sages. The thing is, they've been really secretive as of late. Especially Granbell, who seems to be leading their little gatherings in private. And when I tried to investigate, a bunch of barriers were blocking me every step of the way. I had no choice but to forcefully invade their privacy since I couldn't contact them. What I found out was rather disturbing. They've been making plans about attacking the nation of monsters. Luminous frowns as she hears those words. Wait, what? They've been doing all that behind my back? What delusional plans are they plotting this time? Louis bites his lips before continuing to answer. The death of Hinata and the destruction of the nation of monsters. Immediately after, Luminous slams her fists on the arms of the throne, generating a huge gust of wind. Luminous-sama, please calm yourself down. Explain that to me later when I'm not full of anger. Where are those bastards? And to think I let them be. Currently, I narrowly tracked them down and they're headed for Tempest. Or most of them, at least, since I couldn't detect all 7. That's good enough. I'll eradicate those fools. They've lost what little love I had left for them. As you wish. Chapter 53, Clash 4. Hinata seems to be struggling with something. Being the gentleman I am, I asked her if she needed help. Hinata, do you need any help? Hey, with what? Oops, I should have phrased that better. You seem to be conflicted. I was just wondering if I could help, is all. Before glaring at me, she looked between someone behind me and me, seemingly deciding on who to reply to. But there was a surprised expression on her face when she first looked at the person behind me. Who's behind me anyway? Good day to you, Rimuru. Oh, Jesus, Luminous, give me some space. Wait, who? Luminous. I didn't think you'd come by. Spare me that chit-chat. You noticed the moment I came, didn't you? Well, Sile just gave me a small notice about something like that. I didn't think that something would be Luminous of all people. But other than that, yeah, I did notice her presence myself. I nod along in response. But your face is too close. Oh, sorry. I was just taking a closer look since you look similar to that girl over there. Luminous proceeds to point at Shishu, who gets slightly uncomfortable with the attention. Although Benimaru and Ronga calmed them all down before taking aggressive stances, my subordinate slightly reacted at Luminous' appearance. Luminous then proceeds to back away in an elegant manner, brushing off imaginary dust from her dress. With her arm and finger, she moves her hair to put it back behind her ear. Damn, Luminous really exerts that beautiful girl vibe. Pardon my unannounced visit, however, I need to discuss something with you. As she was talking, she briefly glances at Hinata before focusing back entirely on me. Is it about that? When I said that, I pointed using facial gestures to Hinata. She nods heavily, but it seemed she had something else to tell as well. Let's see, how do I go about this? Benimaru, are your troops and shuns ready? As we'll ever be, Lord Rimuru. That gives me some ideas. Rimuru, could you possibly allow me to fight? Shishu said. Surprised, I let out a soft, what? I've just been freeloading in your country. I haven't done a thing at all to help. And since I have more than regained my powers, even beyond when I was at my prime, I want to help you with this. I know it's selfish, but please allow me to fight for you. Shizue was blushing every second as she said those words. Come to think of it, what has she been doing recently? Aside from taking care of the kids. As if to answer my question, Shuna steps forward. No. That is far from the truth. Shizue, you've helped with so many things, and I myself think highly of you. You even helped me with some things I didn't know about, such as cleaning poison from particular mushrooms. Plus, we've all been enjoying your company to the fullest. Everyone else simply nodded along in pride. Indeed. It's been fun playing frisbee with you and Master, said Ronga. Yumiu, I can agree with what Shuna-sama says wholeheartedly. You are quite skilled with the sword. You even helped train those fools, Gobta and the Goblin Riders, with me, Hakuru implied. Hearing those words, Shizue became even redder. So much so that she wears her mask just to hide it. That's really, really great to hear. I just did what I wanted to do. You were all the ones who took care of me. Saying so, she glances at me. I tilted my head in response. She sighs as if disappointed right after. Why was that? Sigh, you're quite oblivious, aren't you, Rimuru? Luminous, who was casually sitting down next to me in a chair, said in a monotone voice. Never mind. I'm getting a little impatient, is all. Oh right. Then Benimaru, Shun, and Shizue, if those knights won't stop, prepare to welcome them. Is that fine with you, Hinata? That's all right. Eh? What? But Hinata-sama. Relax, I know what I'm doing, says Hinata as she glances at Luminous. Right? Lumina-sama? Lumina smirks. Well, Rimuru, why don't you invite Hinata as well? The last part was in a whisper, but I think Hinata got what Luminous meant when I glanced at her. Actually, I still have my intentions that need to be delivered. So, could you please let me come with you, Rimuru? But what about your subordinates? That's a simple solution. They're independent knights back home, so it shouldn't be any different here. However, if they need someone to command them, then might I suggest my previous teacher, Shizue herself, take that role? Surprise, surprise. What do you know? Hinata's quite the fast thinker. Not that I didn't know. Wait. Actually, if it's the famed Shizue Aizawa herself, then I wouldn't mind being under such a person. Before Ano could protest, Reinald immediately intercepted. He seemed to have understood the exchange between me and her. Then it's decided. Benimaru, I leave the rest up to you. Yes. Without a fraction of a second passing by, immediately we were inside my imaginary space. What? How did? Relax, we're just inside a subspace I created. I stopped Hinata from panicking immediately, as I had expected her to do so. Aha waha. That is quite the refreshing expression you've got there, Hinata. I like it, said Luminous. Don't tease me at a time like this. Aha ha ha, sorry. Now then, Rimuru. I know. I immediately grab a bunch of snacks from my stomach, as Luminous had taken a liking to a few. Now that's salty. I know, right? Trainee-san especially likes this type of chips. While Luminous and I were happily chatting with each other, a dumbfounded Hinata screamed to take us back to reality. Get real here. Geez, fine. Rimuru, I came here to talk to you about something which concerns me. Strange, Luminous can most likely take care of most things by herself. I wonder what it could be that made her reach out to me. My subordinates, most specifically the ones named the 7 Celestial Sages, are currently plotting something I hate to even think about. It was at this point that Luminous had started to leak out some of her Demon Lord Haki. Thankfully it was only a tiny bit, and it just had a slight intimidation effect on Hinata. Don't tell me. At this point, things I knew and didn't would have been 50-50ths. Some things went as they did in the previous timeline, but there have been various elements that aren't present as well. Such as the curses placed on Mizari and Rain. It's the intention to destroy your country and kill Hinata. I was right. I didn't have much of a reaction, mostly because I knew what was going to happen. But I had a poker face on, so Luminous wouldn't think that. However, the clueless Hinata was as dumbfounded as I was at first, back in the previous timeline. But it's strange. Luminous should be able to handle these things all by herself. Then finally, my subordinate, Louis, encountered some strange phantom that tried to inflict a curse upon him. Judging by that reaction, I really was right about this being out of my league to deal with. Rimuru, please, before I explain any further, I wish to seek your help with this. Wait, hold on, Lumina-sama. What did you just say before? My death? The 7 celestial sages behind it. And what curse? Hinata was all over our faces when she had her little outburst, which Luminous enjoyed nonetheless. Calm down, Hinata. If I manage to get Rimuru's help, your concerns will be unneeded. Don't you think that's rather overestimating me? Save me that crap. I myself judge you to be as capable as you seem to be. So, take it with pride. And as a member of the Octagram, don't belittle yourself so much. Okay. So Luminous is the dominant type, huh? That was not something you needed to pay attention to. You're right. So, will you? Luminous said as her sheer aura influenced my decision. Though, nonetheless. You can count on me. Ooh? Just like that. What's wrong with it? No, I mean, wouldn't you ask for something in return? What? If it's about that, I won't need much other than your friendship. I'll gladly help a friend in need, you know. Finally letting out a smile, I reply. Okay, ha ha ha, I never expected this at all. Thank you, Rimuru. This is why I'm weak to beautiful women. All right then, Luminous, Hinata, I'll be looking forward to working with you too. As are we. Special Chapter 1. Encore. 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 Why is this happening? Encore. 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 Why did I agree to this? Rimuru-sama. 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 On the stage stands Master Rimuru, along with Shishu, Milim, Shuna, and Benimaru. A large crowd had gathered in a huge stadium. Many were cheering, many were shouting encore. Rimuru and the others were not on the stage to make a political announcement. Rather, they were doing this for something else. If we describe the atmosphere inside the stadium, it was almost as if idols were performing. Yes, idols. To make you understand what is happening right now, let me tell you what happened 5 hours earlier. Rimuru-sama, I've been looking for you. Shuna called out to me, seemingly out of breath. What's wrong, Shuna? Did Milim break something again? What? Hey! That's rude, Rimuru. Where'd you come from? Anyway, Rimuru, I've got a request of you. Oh no. Usually, whenever Milim had a request, things would always end up getting destroyed one way or another. For example, I remember making a dome specifically optimized for Milim. I thought I could learn from my previous mistakes, of how fragile everything else was compared to the living, breathing calamity, Milim. But boy, were we proven wrong. Remember that place I made when I escorted Guy, too? The one I made outside Tempest? I made that place bigger, sturdier, and made sure it housed some entertainment. Time flew by, and before I knew it, it ended up looking like a dome, similar to the one in Tokyo. If you ask me how it turned out to be that large and elaborate, I'd say it's because of StaciaPLE. The structures we failed to make before were now easily produced thanks to StaciaPLE's calculations and simulations. Especially the parts where the structural pillars would support, that's where we would fail constantly. And since we wanted to make it so it could withstand Milim, we used only the strongest metal we could use. In the end, demonic metal is what we chose. I know there are far more powerful metals, but we simply do not have the technology to fully utilize them right now. Besides, I enhanced the whole structure using my own magicules. It should have held up better than regular demon steel. Kaijin and the others could only watch with their mouths agape as Milim dominated the dome. Merely by releasing her aura, cracks started to form within the first 60 meters around her. Wahahaha! It seems Milim is finding pleasure in destroying this so-called dome built for her. She's not dead yet, shouted Kaijin. Yeah! Kaijin and the others are really fired up for this. Because of their enthusiasm, even Geld started to have this "do your best" look in his eyes. Milim only intensified her aura because she wanted to prove us wrong. Ho-ho, it's holding up quite well. How's this? You're overdoing it. This is bad, Milim's getting carried away. At this rate, the whole dome will collapse right after it was made. Milim! Stop what you're doing this instant. She wasn't listening to any of my words. All right, time to resort to my trusty threat. Milim, if you destroy this place, I'll stop giving you honey. Waha, what? No. That's not like you to do, Rimuru. Back to the present. So, what do you mean by request, Milim? I was clearly skeptical toward her, yet she paid no attention and boldly declared. I want to be an idol. Excuse me? That was all I could muster to think. Never did I ever expect Milim, out of all people, to say those words. Quit looking at me like that, Rimuru. I perfectly know what I'm getting into. Milim huffed at me, making sure that I didn't think of her request as something I could easily deny. My apologies, Lord Rimuru. You see, Lady Milim had apparently heard from Lord Veldora about these idols. I tried to prevent it from happening, but... It's okay, Shuna. It wasn't your fault. Those two act like children all the time. Besides, I wonder how Veldora got his knowledge about idols. In a building in Tempest, a tall, intimidating man sneezed like a baby. Achoo! Sniff, could there be someone talking about me, says Veldora in a prideful tone. After hours and hours of repeated begging, Milim finally made me entertain her idea of being an idol. So, how do you plan on being an idol? I say in a blunt tone. The thing is, Rimuru. I came here to ask you that. I knew it. Milim, do you even know what an idol is? Nope. Rimuru could only smack his face, baffled at how persistent yet clueless Milim was about idols. It really intrigued Milim to discover new, unknown things, specifically those related to Rimuru. Milim heard otherworlders had idols for entertainment from Veldora. Curious as ever, Milim immediately went to bug Rimuru about it. Having no choice, Rimuru agreed to teach Milim about idols. She was stubborn and far more persistent if you denied her. Rimuru went on to explain the many categories and types of idols. Milim listened closely as it intrigued her the more she heard. Those all sound so fun. Rimuru, let me try them all. We can't exactly try them all with just the two of us. Before he could close his mouth, realizing what he just set himself up for, Milim immediately dragged Rimuru out to find other people to fill in the slots of an idol group. Wahahaha! This is going to be so much fun, right, Rimuru? Yes, so much fun. Milim ran around town, examining every single person she came across as potential members. She saw her first target, well, technically the second, since they also dragged Shuna with them as a member. The target was oblivious to what he was getting into. He was only doing his job, patrolling Tempest like a dedicated man while also receiving flowers from girls he came across, though he didn't know what to do with said flowers. That person was, indeed. Yo, Benimaru! Come with us! Milim was moving so fast, she was a blur. The only person who kept up with Milim was Rimuru, while Shuna was slowly but surely getting nauseous. Benimaru was no different. Milim grabbed him by his collar, dragging him along. Milim was carrying Rimuru in his slime form, while Shuna was on her back. Disclaimer: the constant screams of Benimaru for the following days will not be held responsible by me, nor Master. Following Benimaru, Shizu was dragged by Milim next. Wait, Milim, this many people should be satisfactory, no. Milim, who was about to sprint to look for her next target, stopped when Rimuru said those words. Though thinking deeply wasn't her strong suit, she processed Rimuru's words carefully so as not to let Rimuru trick her. In the end, it was futile since she brushed it off almost as soon as she reached a conclusion, deciding to go with what Rimuru said instead. There naturally was a big commotion, and eventually, everyone in Tempest heard of what Milim had been planning. Shun tried to participate as well, but as there was a cooking contest, Shuna, Milim, and Rimuru in unison denied her immediately. Though, Shuna reasoned with her right after so as not to make Shun feel bad. Rigid had heard of this and decided to turn it into a large-scale festival, as always. Though as he was ignorant of the ways of a concert, Rimuru decided to man up and tell him what he told Milim. Though he knew it would be a mistake since Rigid liked to exaggerate every little detail, seeing as this would be a fun experience not just for him, but for all of them, he decided to pay it no heed. By the way, as for how the primordial butler and trio reacted. What? Rimuru-sama as an idol? Though I don't know what that may mean, to me, it sounds like a sight I'd never want to miss. As his butler, I must remain at his side at all costs. You can just watch me from the sidelines. Immediately, Rimuru shot down Diawolo. Ha ha ha, look at your pathetic state being rejected by Lord Rimuru. I'm part of the minigames crew, so screw you, Diawolo. Laughing at Diawolo's petrified state, Carrere immediately degrades Diawolo. The other two saw the opportunity and immediately went on board. My oh my, even I have a part in this as well. Lord Rimuru put me on as event organizer along with Rigadono. Agreed. I was put in charge of picking out cutesy clothes for them to wear. Along with Shuna-san, of course. With nothing to do, Diawolo was even more humiliated. Yet, his indomitable spirit never failed him. He swiftly corrects himself and adds, "You idiots, you three get to be a part of the background crew. I do envy that, however, I get to enjoy watching Rimuru-sama's full glory up front and without wasting a single moment. Essentially, your efforts are going to work for my own benefit." With a landslide comeback, paired with a devilish smile, Diawolo easily overcame and overwhelmed the three. Oh, come on. Rimuru was utterly baffled at how competitive even a single conversation was for them. Commencing idol operation, the 5 idols of Tempest. Did you really have to name it? Of course. I see this as something important, even if this never happened in the previous timeline. Ha ha ha, well, you got that right. Last time, there were only uncrowned idols in Tempest, being me, Shuna, and Shun. Let me hope things don't go too badly. Special Chapter 2. The first event for the idol minigames planned by Rigid was a simple sports tournament. The imbalance was clear, so I decided that I or Milim couldn't use any magic or skills. The other participants were fine to use whatever was in their arsenal. Officiating will be Testarossa. Judges would be Carrere, Rigid, and Guy. Excuse me, what? Hava hava. I've come to see this spectacle, Rimuru. I hope you don't mind me taking a front row seat. Wait, hold on a moment. How did you know we were holding an event? I was honestly baffled by how convenient his timing was. Intuition. A simple answer, yet I couldn't feel any hint of deceit. Are you stalking me, you bastard? Kufu fufu, fret not, Rimuru-sama. I was the one who invited Guy. Hearing that, my head immediately turned in a scary way, my facial expression expressing the words, "Why would you do that? Don't you dislike the dude?" I do. However, Guy had made a sacrilegious comment that I cannot stand. Please allow me this, Rimuru-sama. I want to prove him wrong. If you know what you're doing, then sure. Honestly, having Guy here would only make me embarrassed. What kind of bet did the two make anyway? As I was thinking this, a devilish smile passed between Guy and Diawolo when both made eye contact with one another. Hey, Rimuru! Come on, isn't it time yet? An excited Milim came over. I suppose it's time to start. The location Rimuru and company are using is none other than the dome that Milim destroyed just the other day. Well, with the troublesome things sorted out, I think it's time to start. Things started out with Kareya welcoming everyone and introducing us, the participants, followed by Rigid who explained what the events were going to be. Dodgeball and baseball. All right. The teams are ready. Rimuru and Benimaru versus Milim, Shuna, and Shishu. Dodgeball. So, how do we go about this, Lord Rimuru? Benimaru asked me what to do, to which I replied. We'll go full on offensive, otherwise Milim would just corner us. Roger that. For some reason, Benimaru's been all fired up lately. Is it because he gets to participate, or is that just his competitive nature? If the two teams are ready, then you may start at the count of 3. We're ready. So are we. Giving each team a ball, Rigid counts down to 3, 2, 1. Begin. Without hesitation, Milim immediately sends their ball flying towards Rimuru. However, Rimuru caught it with ease. Wahahaha. As expected. Something on that level is no match for you, Rimuru. Milim, if you lose, don't take it out on me. Rimuru throws it back with much force, so much so that the sound of a mini sound barrier being broken was heard. Milim suddenly had a bright idea. She was reading about a legendary panda warrior with Veldora, and one of the warrior's techniques suddenly popped into Milim's head. As calm as the wind. Milim takes an unusual stance. One with the flow of water. She swings her arms around in an elegant fashion. Imagine it, Milim, catching a droplet of water coursing through your body. Then, Rimuru's ball was about to hit Milim until... Like I'd let you. Milim easily made light of Rimuru's attack, softly and flowingly catching it. Using its momentum, Milim rotates to further increase the impact within the ball, then she releases it. The ball was fast enough to make Rimuru struggle to dodge. Knowing it would hit either way, Rimuru made sure that the ball wouldn't bounce to the ground and eliminate him. Benimaru! Catch it! Yes! Benimaru jumped in order to catch the ball. During the jump, he noticed an opportunity to strike. Wait, Benimaru! Benimaru engulfs the ball with dark flames, burning the air to a rapid degree. The crowd felt the immense heat radiating from Benimaru's palms. Hell ball! Benimaru was in possession of their original ball as well as the opposing teams. Benimaru shot at Shishu in the far back, way behind Milim. He had a pinpoint aerial view, enough so that it was hard to predict where the balls would hit. However, what Benimaru forgot was that Shishu and Shuna were able to use magic. Tidal walls. Shuna immediately erected a tsunami-like water barrier to slow down the momentum of the ball. Though it did slow it down by a lot, it still had enough force to reach the two. Just as the ball was going to hit Shuna, Shishu came and caught the balls. Phew, just in the nick of time. After catching the balls, Shishu immediately gives them to Milim. Milim immediately makes a devilish smile. Wait, can we talk about this? Nope. Rimuru wanted to save Benimaru, but before he could, a ball faster than the speed of sound was coming right towards his face. He caught it, however. Ah! Screaming could be heard from above Rimuru. Rest in peace, Benimaru. You shall not be forgotten. Crap, now it's just me alone against these three. What to do? Ha! As if. Little do they know how much of a champion I was at dodgeball back in the day. I'm not losing to a bunch of newbies who only recently learned of the sport. My champion pride shall never allow that. Rimuru then begins to move around, seemingly getting faster and faster by the second. What? What are you doing, Rimuru? Baffled, Milim could barely keep up with Rimuru's movements, which is why she was shocked to see what he was up to. Milim-sama, what is Rimuru-sama doing? Ashi says. Shuna asked, while Shishu supported Shuna. The two of them could naturally not follow Rimuru's movements, so they asked someone who could. Well, in my eyes, Rimuru's about to do some kind of big finishing move. It's getting me pumped. Indeed, she was right. Rimuru was about to end it all with this one attack. Rimuru running around eventually created hurricane winds, or strong gusts of wind that knocked Shuna and Shishu off balance. However, the force that Rimuru used to throw the balls was even greater. Rimuru swung his arms in a roundabout manner so fast that it was a blur, even to Milim's eyes. Slight fear grew in Milim's eyes. Noticing this, the other two immediately knew what was about to happen. Milim, Shuna, Shishu, I'm sorry to do this to the three of you. However, I cannot let my title of dodgeball champion go to waste, not even here. In a fraction of a millisecond, Rimuru cocked back his arms. During that slight moment, the walls and barriers cracked. This is my specialty, Milim. Tempest throw, storm ball. Rimuru threw the ball. Carrying so much force, the surrounding wind produced by Rimuru earlier was absorbed. Two flying balls of pure force and wind moved at a whopping 1,000 miles per hour. Milim tried to catch them, but of course, it was impossible. She wasn't allowed to use magic, plus she couldn't counter such devastating wind pressure purely generated from Rimuru's raw power in a fraction of a second. The balls hit Milim, and then Shuna and Shishu. Rimuru had used Sile's calculations as to where to throw, so no explanation is needed for this one. And there we have it, folks. The winner is Rimuru Tempest. Kareya loudly announced Rimuru's win. The crowd's cheering began, letting out the tension amid the fading smoke. Oh, that kind of stung, Rimuru. Ah ha ha ha, sorry. What else could I have done? If I missed and you got the ball, I would have lost. He, you're right. You were lucky I didn't go for Benimaru first. Speaking of, where did he go? On a faraway lake. Who? Where am I? Wait. Where am I really? Wasn't I supposed to be in a contest?